Hey y'all, and welcome back. Try that again. The dogs dig. Hey y'all, and welcome back to Raccoon Creek Homestead. If I can get a sentence out without, falling in a dog hole. Today you get to come with me and we are going to do farm chores in the snow while also talking about ways to side hustle and make a little extra money on the farm. Okay, so we're going to start off with... Okay, I didn't get any. We're going to start off with chickens. Say hey, ladies. They're like, no. It's snowy out there. Now, you could go really basic. Okay, you could go really basic and just eggs. And yeah, sorry they're gross. Real food comes dirty when it's muddy, which it was yesterday. We actually woke up to this snow, which is absolutely gorgeous. However, doing farm chores in it is not my favorite, but there's a little bit of that for you. I know, I'm not... She thought I was messing with her. Okay, so we check eggs every morning. We have 35 birds and a rooster-ish. Aren't they pretty? Okay. Hey, ladies. Sir. Isn't he pretty? I mean, handsome. You're very handsome, Tank. A minute, you can watch them and I will chit chat. So, not only can you get the eggs, which I got a basket full, and yes, they're dirty. I will wash them. I mean, in Indiana right now, if you're buying farm, they're about $4 a dozen versus $4 to $5 at the store, which is great. If you sell hatching eggs, you pretty much double that, so $8 for 12 hatching eggs. Or you can get an incubator and set them up yourself, like we did, and then you get $5 a chick, which is $5 per hatched egg. So I took $4 for 12 eggs, and if, we'll say 10 hatch, 10 at $5 a piece is $50. Granted, it takes about 3 weeks to hatch, but that's a big difference. Okay, so next up, let's talk about ways for income on your homestead by means of these ladies right here. So this is Nova. She's my mini Nubian herd queen. And here on our farm, we use goats. We have dairy goats. And we use them primarily for dairy, which is milk. So we milk twice a day during the season. You do have to keep your does in milk by having them bred, which I hope there's babies in there. Are there babies in there? I hope so. All of our goats here on our farm are due in April. Now the days in April vary. She loves cheeky scratches. Look at this. I'm so distracted by her ridiculousness. Look at that. Look at that face. So aside from Miss Nova being very, very interested in everything, I take it that's her, since she's the herd queen, that's her job. We, our goats on our farm, we use for dairy. So we get milk from them to drink. We make goat's milk soap. Here in Indiana, you cannot legally sell goat's milk for human consumption, which is, we're just not going to get into the politics of that. But you can also sell kids that they have, which you have to kit Your goats have to kid in order for you to get milk or to stay in milk. So all of our goats are pregnant. They are all due throughout April. Nova is the first up. And she's looking kind of wide. I'm kind of hoping for multiples. But yeah, that's goats. You also, in addition to dairy goats, you can also have meat goats, which are what they sound like. Never eaten goat. If someone gave it to me, I would probably try it, but that is not one of our primary sources of protein here on our farm. Hi, Macchiato.
So this is our little first timer.
It's funny, you go to pet him and they all freeze like, oh yeah, I like that. Now, I've never had sheep. I assume that it's going to be about the same. You're going to get wool from sheep. In addition to having them for kidding and for meat consumption. She is so sweet. And then there's pigs, which, like I said, we're going to have pigs this year. Do I like Oberhaslis because they're that reddish brown and I like that reddish brown? Pigs, again, you can keep them as breeder pigs and sell piglets, or you can raise them up and sell them to go to butcher. That's what a lot of people locally around here do. I literally sit out here and watch them all day, which for the fact that there's snow on the ground, it's not super chilly. I'm okay with that. Okay, back to pigs. So, like here, we're doing 2 pigs, one to keep for us and one to sell. Hopefully the one to sell will cover all of our costs for the butchering costs and hopefully the feed, or at least part of it. Definitely the butchering cost. Feed would be like a nice perk. I never knew the goats like to eat snow. I learned something new today. Okay, next up there are rabbits, kind of along the same thing. Breeder rabbits, you get babies, you sell babies. You have rabbit meat, you have rabbit pelts. Cows, kind of the same thing. Dairy versus meat. You have meat versus, you raise it, same thing. You also have where, maybe you have the hide, you have bones with that as well. If you have chicken or beef and you get them, make sure you ask for the bones or you don't throw them away. You can stick a whole chicken in a big old pot, just the bones, after you've eaten it, make broth. It is crazy easy. You just simmer it, maybe with some vegetables, some water, let it go. You will save yourself so much money. I haven't bought broth for over a year now. You get all of those extra goodies, the minerals and the vitamins and all of that from that broth. And literally, it is from something you produced. It does not take time. You can pressure can it. Don't be afraid of your pressure canner. It's just basically simmer it, sift it, or get all the stuff out of it, and then like wham bam, thank you ma'am, super easy. With cows, you can also have dairy cows. I've never had a dairy cow. I've never raised a beef cow. We just don't really have the room here. But let's get into gardening. So gardening is a big one. First off, save your seeds from last year. You save your seeds, that's $0 that it's going to take for you to start your seeds. You could have an entire garden for free. Another one, start seeds, sell them, sell plant starts. If you can't from your home, maybe see about a farmer's market. That's where I sell the ones that I start. Plus, you can get 1 pack of seeds that cost the same as 1 individual plant. Probably a couple packs of seeds anymore for the price of 1 individual plant. So that's a good start. Okay, so now you've planted everything. Tomatoes, those little suckers you pull out of the little armpits? Yeah, put those in water. They will root in not a lot of time. So now you took your seeds, you grew them into starts, you popped your suckers, and now you have your second wave. Your first ones start looking a little rough. Guess what? You have a second planting, and it costs you nothing. Plus, any produce that you have, if you don't eat it, throw it to your chickens. Throw them in your freezer, and when you have enough, make sauce. Green beans. We're going to plant a ton of them. What we don't eat, we can. If, like I've mentioned before, the red noodle beans, I personally do not really care for them. I know, crazy. My goats love them. I am completely growing them for a goat snack, which is great because we don't use any pesticides. So that's a snack for them that they're not going to find those in nature, but it's a clean eating snack and they love them. Also, if I have any leftover vegetable scraps, they go to the chickens. Well, guess what? Chickens and goats, they make compost, which also saves me a lot of money. See where I'm going with this? Where it's not necessarily bringing in a side hustle, it's also just saving money. Money that I didn't spend is money to me. Money saved is money earned. If it takes me a little extra, maybe to hang my clothes, I don't know if you can see it on my clothesline, to save me $1 on running the dryer, I mean, aside from when it's, freezing and snowing, I'm gonna do that. In addition to gardening, there's also baking. If you have chickens and extra eggs, I know right now it's kind of one of those weird, like, eggs, because of the price, but you can make egg noodles. It doesn't take a lot of flour and a lot of eggs to make a lot of noodles. And again, you can sell those as a side hustle. I actually plan on doing that. There's a winter market here in Greencastle, which is about 20 minutes from my house. And I plan on doing that. And I plan on making noodles. Nick is going to make other baked goods. Again, watch your state on what you need to do for like a home-based vendor. Like where we are, it's that we just have to take the Serve Safe class. It's online. It costs $15 and it lasts you for 3 years. Now, because Nick is the prime baker, although yes, I do supervise him, I made him take it with me because I'm that mom. And if you're going to do it, you need to practice safe practices. I used to have one of those like a decade ago, so we pretty much did it anyway, but it was still nice to brush up on our skills. But make sure that in anything that you do, check the legality and make sure that your state allows for it. Again, to keep the politics off of here, please. But yeah, just like that, foraging. Plant perennials. You plant them once and they come back. I mean, most of the time unless. But like blueberries, that's why I'm doing the blueberry bed this year, because I'll get a harvest off of it. And yes, I could sell them, or I can keep them, I can freeze them, I can turn them into pie. There are so many things that you can do. Money is, to me, the same. To me, that's a side hustle all in itself. Live in the woods like I do. Now, granted, we heat with our wood, so any wood that comes down, it stays here. But if you have a ton of acreage, you can always have your property like harvested. It's basically where a company will come in and log out every 20 years or so, and they'll take trees and they'll pay you pretty good for it. My neighbor just did it. I don't know how many trees they got, but they got paid like $5,000 just for some trees because they own a ton of acreage. And it's good for the land too because it takes out all the big trees and it makes room for the small. But like I said, we keep all of our wood here, but around here it's $60 a rick of wood. So you take down one tree and that's a couple $100. But like I said, it saves us here. Again, we saved money. Granted, yes, we did have to put in a wood stove. Our insurance, make sure you check with your insurance before you put in a wood stove. Some are okay with it, some are not. Like we have Indiana Farm Bureau, they're perfectly fine. It was just basically let them know, sign a form, wham bam, thank you ma'am. The one that we looked at before did not allow for wood burning fireplaces, so we did not go that route. But yeah, we spent less than $1,000 for our wood stove with install. I guarantee we saved that in the first year alone. Again, free resources. It takes a little time, but the energy bills here are crazy. Just because it works for us doesn't mean it'll work for you. If it was just me here and I had to do all the work, there's no way. That's where Jeremy comes in. Jeremy and his dad and Nick will go out, usually on the weekend because they have the same days off. And the fact that we share property, we all just do it and we basically stack all the wood and we all just share it. We work together and we share. Community can be a big one. Bartering can be a big one. And again, I keep going back to the saving. Maybe I should have titled this How to Save Some Money on Your Homestead instead of a side hustle. But I feel like they go hand in hand. They are so important together. I feel like I could keep going on and on about this topic, but you know what? Let's just maybe call this a part 1. Maybe I'll add a few later, but I think that's a pretty good place to stop. between animals and gardening and just what you're good at and labor and baking, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's kind of something that I'm going for this year. I'm trying to cultivate, which was my word of the year. I'm trying to cultivate growth in myself, in my homestead, in my community. And this is just the beginning of how I'm doing it. I'm trying to really, reach out and to go out there out of my comfort zone. And I want the homestead, and I want just a homesteading as a whole. Animal husbandry, gardening as a whole, just the whole lifestyle is something that I really feel like more people are turning to, and I really like that. And we're all new, we all start somewhere, and you know what? If my channel is a place where you would like to come and ask questions or give feedback, as long as it's nice, because we're all going to be nice. Don't have something nice to say, don't say something at all. Going back to that rule. But that, and like my hand's kind of tired from holding up the phone, is kind of frozen. So until next time, don't have a good day. Have a great day. See you next time.